Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Haunted Dolls and Curses video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's start this series here with a brand new suggestion. Please keep those suggestions coming. I'll be doing a few more videos throughout this week and into next week as well. This one has to do with a haunted statue that is found there in a cemetery in Iowa. And when I was reading the information associated with it, it was amazing how much it links to another haunted statue that you've seen on some of my past videos, that famous Black Jesus statue that's there in Huntsville, Texas, the one that I featured on my Ghosts and Spirits video. The reason why this one, though, here is on the Haunted Dolls and Curses is because unlike the Black Jesus statue, this statue that I'll feature here is cursed. Apparently, you can do some things at that statue that can cause curses to come upon you. I'll explain that more here in a minute, and I'll explain the origin of these curses. It all apparently ties to a woman who was linked to the statue at an early age, like essentially upon its first inception. Very fascinating stuff when I was reading this information. Those of you that are in Iowa might already know what this statue is, but it has to do with this. You're looking at it now. It's known as the Black Angel statue there in an Oakland cemetery of Iowa. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating information associated with this Black Angel statue, this cursed Black Angel statue. So again, where is it located at? You have to go specifically to a cemetery called Oakland Cemetery, and it's there at a city called Iowa City, there in Iowa. So if you go to that place, this is a Black Angel statue that has gained notoriety ever since pretty much its first inception back in 1912. That's when it was first created. How about that? Over 100 years old, right, when it comes to this statue. But yes, it's gotten so much notoriety that people go see it day in, day out, and also during nighttime, as it's been featured on several TV shows, prominent TV shows, especially some on the Sci-Fi Channel. If it was a place that I could go visit anytime soon, I would absolutely go do so as well. I mean, I did that again with the Black Jesus statue, so why not go see something like this as far as this Black Angel statue and try to see what it's about and maybe those curses that are involved. First, though, its origin. So essentially, this statue came to be because in 1912, it was set up as a burial monument for a wealthy family called the Feldevert family. This was a statue that was commissioned by the mother, the Teresa Dolezal Feldevart. She commissioned it because tragically, both her husband and her son ended up dying early. I don't know why the husband died, but the son died after having meningitis back in 1891. So she definitely wanted to have something set that could hold both of their bodies. One of them was cremated. The other one was buried there. More on that here in a minute. And she wanted to have it created in a way that could stand out. And so she commissioned a guy by the name of Mario Corbel, an artist, to do this statue. And when he created it, it was actually made, the outside at least, out of copper. Again, it ties into the famous Black Jesus statue there in Huntsville, Texas, because that one also used to be copper as well on the outside. Ever since, though, it was first created, it was considered to have a very imposing, almost haunting, tragic, like it's an unsettling aspect associated with it. Number one, it's almost 9 feet in total length and height, in other words, from the ground itself. So it towers over people whenever you come across it. Also, the way it looks, like instead of having a traditional common token type image of an angel, let's say being uplifting, having, let's say, the wings go upwards, maybe the angel looking upwards up into the sky. Here in this case, though, this statue has the opposite. The wings are folded downward, almost as if it's cowering, shivering, maybe even trying to protect something from some unseen force. And then also the head is tilted downward with a sorrowful expression. Again, something that's completely different than what you would normally see in terms of the heavenly attributes associated with angels. And the way it looks, especially like if you're underneath it, obviously you would be because of the way it towers over everyone. It was, rather than giving like a peaceful appearance. It's almost more on the lines of, and I read it as an article, a creepy ambiance, which is absolutely true. And seeing these pictures here, you can absolutely focus on this statue instead of, let's say, what it's supposed to represent, which is, again, the bodies that are buried there. In fact, Eddie's body, the husband, was there. Eddie's body, the son, was placed right alongside the statue, while Teresa's husband, his ashes were placed underneath it. So in other words, one was placed next to it, the other one right underneath it. If you go there to this day, that's essentially where you're going to be in the vicinity of those two earlier deaths. And then ultimately, Teresa herself ended up passing away from cancer in 1924, and she in turn was buried there as well underneath the statue. So anyone that visits that statue to this day, you're basically going to the one spot where this wealthy Feldevert family are all buried in one place, and ever since then, that's where apparently these curses start to come. The trigger effect, though, is associated with Teresa's passing. Here's more on that info that I was mentioning earlier. Once she died, it was noticed that this statue, which again was built with a copper outlining, started to deteriorate very, very fast. Obviously, there's oxidation that happens whenever you have copper outside any kind of metal that looks shiny. It'll eventually start turning a different hue. Here in this case, though, people started realizing it was happening much quicker than it normally would or should. And it was all after Teresa was buried. In other words, her ashes were there right next to the statue. It went from having a shiny bronze look to being what you see now, which is a horrid greenish blackish type color, something that would be almost like straight out of a template of a Silent Hill game. Once that happened, it happened so quickly, it alarmed people that there was this now scary set of stories that started permeating from that location. I'm not even touching yet on the paranormal stuff. More on that here in a minute too, but it apparently started causing people to freak out whenever they went to the cemetery. There's all these other normal looking statues around that area, and then all of a sudden there's this one right here, just out there standing tall because it's very hard to not notice it because of how big it is. And then there it is, creating an imposing, almost creepy, eerie type atmosphere surrounding it. One lore is this, and again it ties into Teresa herself. It's been said that she was actually someone that practiced in some very bad manners and some very bad items. One of them was apparently she was a practitioner of black magic, and anything involving that and that world, apparently it linked into the fact of her son and her husband's deaths, because some people were stating that they in fact were murdered by her by using this black magic. And then when she was buried in there, this practitioner and all the bad things that she was doing followed her straight into that statue, tainted it, caused it to basically corrode because of the negative energy that she brought to it. And that's why you see it today as this ugly blackish greenish hue, because it essentially is a remnant of whatever Teresa was doing. So what she was doing in her life after she died followed herself into that statue, and that's why it creates that evil presence that people talk about whenever you go there. One other lore is this evil is so bad that even during thunderstorms there's lightning strikes that hit this statue, and that further cause things to happen badly around that area. Paranormal things that apparently come about. One more time on that here in a minute, but let's talk about first about the curses that people have said have now come into play because of Teresa's actions. Again, you can try this on your own. I don't really like recommending curses, like trying to see if people can prove whether they do or don't work, because you never know exactly what could happen afterward. But here's essentially how it goes. If you go to that statue, and especially if you're a girl, and you happen to kiss the angel's feet, maybe as a sign of reverence or maybe as a prank, who knows? If you do that and it happens to be a full moon, then you'll surely die within 6 months. That's one curse. The other curse is this. If you go there on a Halloween night and you even just touch this angel, all you have to do is just touch it. You don't have to do anything else. If you do that, then you will die in 7 years. And then another one goes that you could be a boy, a girl, it doesn't matter if you kiss it on the feet or if you kiss it anywhere else. If you do that, then you'll have heart failure, in some cases instantaneous heart failure that causes you to die either right then and there or later on. Or if you happen to be a pregnant woman and you walk underneath those sorrowful, downtrodden wings that I was mentioning earlier, if you do that, then you will lose your child because of the curses associated with this statue. Isn't that crazy? Like, all these curses apparently are linked to the statue, which are in turn linked to Teresa, who was in turn linked to the all these black magic acts that she was practicing during her lifetime. I have no idea if that is true as far as, like, let's say her being a practitioner. I think, and just based on hyperbole, I think that's going to be a lot of embellished, maybe untrue stuff when it comes to that. You know, people just needed to create a story, but that's the stuff, the legends that's been tied afterward. Whenever the statue started corroding, and it all was at the same time that she was buried to it afterward. But those are some of the curses, again, that are tied to it. Paranormal wise, people have stated that when they go there are hauntings at that location. People have seen apparitions that are roaming about that particular statue, whether they're ghostly mists or shadow people, in other words. Orbs, another classic, they have been seen there around that statue as well. There have been photographs that have captured very curious things within the vicinity of that statue. Hard to discern essentially what they are. And then also EVPs have been captured around that statue as well. Sounds and other type of communications apparently coming from there. So again, that's just touching upon the paranormal side, as I mentioned a minute ago. But as far as that's it, as far as all the information, there's really not much else to talk about here. This black statue, this angel statue that is there in the Oakland Cemetery. If anyone has had a chance to visit that cemetery, maybe see it in person and talk about your experiences from it, please post those comments below. I would definitely love to do so one of these days, and then try to see what comes about as far as my own experience. Would I be able to actually, like, let's say, dare kiss its feet or touch it and so on? I don't know. That would be more of the spur of the moment thing. But if anyone has done that as well and knows if there's any kind of bad after effects afterward, then let me know. Please post those comments below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.